YouTube. I wanted to talk to you guys today about the modifications I had done to this Arbor press to get it ready for leatherworking. Now, as you can see, this is the Central Machinery half-ton Arbor press. This is the El Cheapo from Harbor Freight. Now, this particular model here, they are no longer carrying. They are discontinuing it. They had it marked down from $70 to $19.99. I was able to use the 20% off coupon, scored this little item for $15.99. Heck of a deal. Now, when I got it home, I'll tell you guys now, these things are absolutely packed in grease. I took a little bit of degreaser and some paper towels, cleaned it up the best I could, and then I took it to a machine shop down the road from my house here to have a few modifications done. First thing you'll notice is down here on the lower plate, there's a receiving hole here for the lower die, for a die set, for like setting, you know, your L20 or L24 snaps, rivets, eyelets, you know, whatever. Now underneath that, I'll show you here, I have a set screw that I had them put in. That way, if you have your upper and lower dies lined up like this, you know, so let's say, you know, we have everything lined up, we have our dies in there. Well, you know, I was worried about this bottom plate moving on me when I would go to put, you know, my leather in there, or you know, changing out dies or something like that, and I didn't want to have to constantly, you know, have to keep checking it or readjusting it to make sure everything was flush. So you also see here on the ram arm, there's a set screw here. Let me get this up. I'll show you all the bottom of the ram. You can see there, I also had them drill a hole in the center of the bottom of the ram arm. That's approximately, it's a little under a ½ inch. I think it's 3/8 in diameter, that hole. So I mean, that's really all that I had them do to it, you know, to get it ready. Now, of course, with that hole there in the bottom plate, you're not going to use one of your Delrin stamps like what I talked about in the other video on this particular piece of the plate. You know, you'll want to rotate that around to get a nice, you know, flat, clean looking piece here. And also, I wouldn't put the leather directly on this plate. Where it was packed down with grease, I have put some test pieces of leather on here, just scrap that I have. It does leave like a, I don't know, almost like a metallic silver color or stain on the back of the leather. So I would put down, you know, a small piece of paper or cardstock or something. Now, if you are worried about this leaving a mark on your leather, you could just take this off completely. Put a small metal plate here, or possibly a piece of, you know, good hard wood or something, and then you could do that for your stamping instead of using that small plate, you know, with the cutouts. Now we'll get this lined back up, put back on there. Okay. But that's really all the modifications I had done to it, you know, to get it ready. So let's do a quick demonstration of how we use this to set the Delrin stamps that we talked about in the last video. Now, I have a piece of small piece of leather that I've already cased, and I've got the stamp where I want it to be. So we'll check for alignment here and see if she's in a good spot. Okay, well, that'll work. So what I'll do is I'll loosen that. Okay. And then what I like to do is, as you can see, I've got a clamp on the back on the table there. That way, when I'm applying pressure here with the arm, the back part of the press isn't going to come up off the table. Now, of course, I would do this on a much sturdier table. This is just for a demonstration, but you'll get the point. Okay, so I'll pull down Now I am doing this with just one hand. My camera that I normally use for recording my videos would not power on today. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with it. Changed out the batteries, checked the memory cards, even did a hard reset on the camera. She would not come on for me today. So I am recording this on my my iPhone 6. But as you can see, I'm just applying, some downward pressure, and I'm holding it. Then I'll release the pressure a little bit, come down, really get down on it real good. And this doesn't take, very long. I mean, you might want to hold this for maybe, 15, 20 seconds. And make sure your leather is cased properly. Wet it down. A couple, you don't want it sopping wet, but, run a damp sponge over it 2 or 3 times. Let that soak in until the leather starts to return back to its natural color. And then you'll get a good, impression from your stamp. Okay. So now we'll bring this arm back up. Alright, and let's see what kind of impression we get from this. Now you can see the leather still is a little damp, but that's a real good impression. I mean, you can tell it's set in nice and deep. There we go. Let me get that focus just a little bit better for you. And something I really like about these stamps is if you look between the eyes there, that it does look shaded. I mean, just like it did on the drawing. I'm very impressed with how well these stamps work. Now, something else I wanted to show you guys real quick was I ended up getting 2 of these stamps from Adam from 6 Elements Workshop, and I wanted to see if there was anything I could do to make the impressions just a little bit better. So what I did is I took a small square of leather and I used some contact cement, and I affixed that to the back of the stamp. And as you can see, it's exactly the same stamp as the other one. Now, my thought in doing this was that leather being there would help the weight, from the Arbor press distribute more evenly over the face of the stamp. I wanted to see if that would help give us a better overall image. So if we look here, make sure it's zoomed in properly here. Okay. The image here on the left is their standard press. Now, this one I did just exactly the same as the other one. Cased the leather, held it for maybe 15-20 seconds, and then released it. Now, as you can see, that is a good image. I mean, it's in there, it looks crisp, everything's real legible as far as the wording goes. But let's look over here to the right. You will notice the perimeter circle, it's a lot darker, and the shading is a lot darker in the skull. It looks like it's been, burnished a lot more than what we've gotten on the left. And I did this exactly the same way. Like I said, the only thing that I did different was just the leather on the back there. So to me, it does look like that piece of leather being on there has helped distribute the weight of the press more evenly over the face of the stamp, which has produced a deeper, crisper, and a more well burnished, final stamp. I was real happy with that, and so that's probably how I'm going to do that from now on. And also, I believe that's going to help cut down on any wear and tear, because as you can see, there's the circle here on the top of the leather from the hole in the upper ram. So over time, repeated use, I was afraid that maybe that would start to wear down on this plastic. Now this is a high density plastic. I mean, I could possibly use this for years and never have any issues whatsoever. But, you know, I figured, you know, what's it going to hurt, you know, just to test that and see. But, you know, I just wanted to show you guys the little modification I had made there, and the difference that it made in the outcome. Now guys, if this video has helped, I would appreciate for you guys to like, comment, and subscribe. You know, of course, every like that we get, you know, for the channel, you know, helps support our videos. You know, be on the lookout for some future leatherworking videos. I do have some build-alongs planned. I have a belt project that I'm going to do for my son, that I figure I'll, you know, get some footage of and show you guys how I put belts together. You know, and this is from scratch. You know, I'm not using the pre-cut belt blanks from Tandy's. You know, I'll cover, you know, going over the you know, cutting the strips, you know, from the double shoulder, you know, all the way through, you know, the finished product. So, you know, I appreciate your guys' support, and be on the lookout for some future videos. Thanks.